quality corporate training meets powerful AI. Docebo is the world's first generative AI learning platform. You can customize the learning experience and create content in seconds. Learn more at docebo.com.
Ulysses is the mythological hero from Homer's Odyssey. Despite being described as a man of multifaceted ingenuity, he requires a guide in order to return home. He needs a person that can see the future before anyone else. To find this person, he must take an infernal journey to Hades, kingdom of the dead and of the past. Here he meets Tiresias, the great prophet, blind yet paradoxically capable of seeing farther than anyone else. Tiresias gives Ulysses advice and instructions. He warns the hero against danger, and he gives him courage. After all, the future is a vast ocean, often unquiet. No one can face it with just enthusiasm and good intentions. Humans have attempted to learn the decisive yet uncertain art of predicting the future ever since the start of civilization itself. In ancient Mesopotamia, the highest honors were reserved for priests who could read the stars. In ancient Greece, oracles were respected and taken seriously. In Rome, they even influenced political and military decisions. Over the years, fortune-telling would change in shape and method. Superstition has given way to science, but the substance remains the same. We must predict the future to master the present, to take advantage of opportunities and to avoid catastrophes. In essence, predicting the future is as important as it is impossible. We must carefully observe the present, find the seeds of tomorrow under the surface of today. It's a matter of information and knowledge, and this knowledge becomes power. And from great power comes great responsibility, or at least it should. I am Guido Brera, and you're listening to Black Box, The Hidden Side of Finance, a podcast by Cora Media, sponsored by Docebo. The entire financial system is based on being able to see beyond the present, to read the signs and patterns, to point out trends. It's not an exact science, but it is an essential one. And this isn't just about profit, it's also a matter of survival. Finance sometimes solves problems in its own way, creating the same future that it wished to predict. So let's try this exercise together. Let's attempt to look at the horizon. Which are the most important trends of the near future? According to a report from ARK Invest, an investment fund focused on sustainability and innovation, we can isolate 7 megatrends. These 7 key words are about to unlock our future, for good and for ill. The first megatrend is on everyone's mind already. It seems to be the engine for everything else. We're talking about artificial intelligence. Until recently, nothing more than a nebulous concept. Suddenly, it has a vast and concrete range of practical uses. ChatGPT is a chat box based on AI and developed by OpenAI, launched at the end of 2022. It took ChatGPT just 2 months to reach 200 million active monthly users. It took Facebook 4 years and a half to reach the same goal. It took Instagram 2 years, and TikTok just a little less. We can already see an important development on the horizon. That of artificial intelligence as a service, meaning an infinite variety of AIs, capable of multiplying and teaching one another, both infinitely and uncontrollably. We're talking about enormous opportunities. but gigantic risks as well, occupational risks. Risks linked to the quality of information and education. AI can do very well in this regard, but it's also extremely dangerous if mismanaged. Risks linked to our own survival as a species. These risks are already at the center of a serious debate. On one side, we have the techno-optimists, who believe that innovation must be left free to run its course. On the other, there are the skeptics, who suggest more prudence. On top of this, there's the enormous issue of resources. Water first of all. Every 20 prompts typed into ChatGPT takes up half a liter of water, which we already mentioned in episode 21 of this podcast. The second trend is robotics. If artificial intelligence is sort of the software, or the mind of machines, robotics deals with the hardware, or the body. Robots live among us. They actually don't look like the scary androids we got to know and to fear in the old sci-fi movies. Instead, they improve the productivity of companies. They assist human activities. They can take on dangerous tasks. They work by our side. And recently, they've even started to collaborate with one another, autonomously, thanks to what is called swarm intelligence. The social challenge we have to face at this point is very clear. It's called occupation risk management. In 2022, Amazon had about 1,600,000 employees worldwide. In 2023, that number went down to 1,500,000. In the same period, the amount of robots in the company doubled, from 520,000 units to over 1 million. Robotics also leaves an impact on urban transport, such as robotaxis. This new system of personal mobility, as well as the necessary platforms to manage it, is looking to make a colossal amount of money, $28 trillion within the next 5 to 10 years. Let's stay focused on the world of mobility. The third megatrend we're looking at right now is that of electric vehicles. In 2016, about 600,000 electric cars were sold all around the world. In 2023, around 14 million. According to ARC, we can expect 74 million in 2030. Battery costs are going down, and their efficiency is going up. Recharge stations are multiplying as well. This is great news for the quality of air in our cities. But at the same time, we'll need to face the battery issue. What type of energy shall we use to supply the production chain? What about disposal? And what about the geopolitical effects that we're already seeing due to the rush for dwindling lithium and cobalt? The fourth great trend is not on the road, nor in the ground, but up in the sky. Unlike the ancient priests of Mesopotamia, we no longer look to stars for our answers. Instead, we try to reach them. The space industry is as vital as ever, and more in the hands of private companies rather than nations like in the past. The pioneer in this field is once again Elon Musk and his SpaceX. And the most promising trend is that of reusable rockets, capable of reducing costs and environmental impact, which is still sky high. It's not all just about going back to the moon or shooting off to Mars, either. It's more importantly about managing the vast system of satellites that control many decisive aspects of our lives on this planet right now. We're talking about a giant resource and enormous power, all in the hands of a few technolords that already see themselves as rulers of the stars. For the fifth megatrend, we'll have to go from space back to Earth, specifically Florida, a few years ago. May 2010. Laszlo Hanietz is a young programmer who lives in Jacksonville. That day, he's the first person to buy real-world goods in Bitcoin, which had come to light just a year earlier with the publication of a protocol by the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. Laszlo decides to buy 2 pizzas and to have them delivered to his house. Price, 10,000 Bitcoin. At the time, that was about $40. Today, the total value is more than $600 million. Today, Bitcoin and its vast ecosystem of blockchain and crypto is less and less a mystery for a select few initiates. Quite the opposite, it's carving its own space in the financial world. Regulators are adapting. The public at large is familiarizing itself with the language. Today, it's seen as an asset allocation tool, not that different from gold. But digital coins have a flip side as well. One of the biggest issues is the energy cost for the mining of Bitcoin and crypto, and the general lack of trust in central banks and how they print money. These central banks have undoubtedly made some bad choices. However, they've often saved our economies from collapse, especially in the age of constant and varied crises that we're living in. From money to health, just like a horoscope. The 6th megatrend is that of personalized medicine, which, apparently, everyone seems to agree with. By integrating AI systems, robotics, RNA therapies, and cutting-edge genomic editing, we'll soon be able to cure the incurable. Tumors, of course, but not only. The goal is to focus on each patient individually, defeating illnesses as we get to know each one more in depth, understanding the battlefields that are our own bodies and the weapons that each of us has at our disposal. It's what everyone wants. But at the same time, we can't be blind to the great uncertainty. Will everyone be allowed to access these therapies? Will national health systems, such as those in Europe, be able to face the costs? Or perhaps these therapies will be available only to the wealthiest, widening even more the gap between the privileged few and the growing number of poor. The 7th and last megatrend isn't even a point in itself. It comes from the convergence and integration of everything that we've touched on so far. Artificial intelligence, robotics, new forms of energy and mobility, space and underground, blockchain and new privileges all tied together. The whole in this case is definitely greater than the parts. This tangled mess translates into vertical and exponential acceleration, without regulation nor counterweights. Nobody at the helm, directionless on uncharted seas. We look back over our shoulders in fear, that's true. But we're at risk of being blinded by our own reckless enthusiasm. Black Box is a Cora News podcast, produced by Cora Media and sponsored by Docebo. Written by Guido Brera with I Diavoli. Editorial supervision by Francesca Milano. Intro and sound design by Luca Micheli. Editing and post-production by Luca Micheli and Mattia Liciotti. Production organization by Alex Peverengo.